Live from Ohio University, you're watching WOUB2, television for Athens County.
Heavy rains and another tornado scare for Athens County. We have the latest.
And Ohio University's emergency notification system is put into play again. How successful was it this time?
And unrest continues over Senate Bill 5. We have local reaction from a weekend town hall meeting. All this and more coming up on Athens Midday.
Good afternoon, I'm Emily Hanford.
And I'm Brad Evans, but Athens County is still under a flood watch. Matt Rosante joins us in the Weather Center for more. Matt?
Well, that's right, guys. Obviously, if you were in Athens this morning, you either heard the wind, heard the rain, or even that loud siren going off saying we had a tornado warning. But the worst has passed. We do still have that flood watch you were talking about. If we can take a look at it, we can see that the flood watch is until 10 p.m. tonight, though it could carry over into Tuesday. We expect 1 to 2 inches more of rain coming later on this evening. And the affected areas, as you can see there, Athens, Gallia, Jackson, Vinton, Meigs, and Perry, among many others. So what we need to watch out for, mainly the small creeks and streams. Also, there are some areas along the highways that have been causing some flooding, could create some kind of skidding on the road. So please be careful as you're driving outside today. And we'll also have a chance to take a look at our Ohio radar to see that cold front that came in did bring some heavy rain, and we'll take a look at that later on in the newscast. So guys, back to you. We're safe for now, but not out of the woods yet.
Thanks, Matt. The heavy rain had the Water and Sewer Department out working early this morning. Overflowing water sent crews to clean up debris that spread onto the street. Sewer Supervisor Scott Lambert said the south side and parts of Richland Avenue were the most affected. The department sent trucks to hose down and shovel mud off the streets. Despite the heavy rain, Lambert said the city is prepared to handle the mess. Daryl Irwin, who worked on the streets this morning, agreed with Lambert.
It's been like this before. This is not the first time. You get heavy rains like this every now and then.
Lambert said the division will work all day to keep the roads clear from hazards. An emergency text message system is supposed to alert students of possible danger, but it didn't work well this morning. Some Ohio University students received an emergency text message alert warning them of a tornado around 7 this morning, shortly after the alert was issued by the National Weather Service. But others didn't get the text until the warning had already expired.
I did not get a text this morning when there was a tornado.
And even the students who received the text got them at all different times.
I know, like, my roommate received it like 15 minutes earlier than I did.
If there had actually been a tornado, some students would not have known to seek shelter. Sam Siebert is not signed up for the service, but still received a confusing warning.
Because we heard the sirens, but didn't really know what was going on.
Ohio University says it is aware of the problems with the system and is searching for another company to run its emergency notification system.
Senate Bill 5 could come out of committee in the state Senate tomorrow. The protest over the bill, which would limit collective bargaining and other benefits for state employees, continues across the state and here in Athens. Athens Midday reporter Jenna Miller was at the Athens Town Hall meeting on SB 5 and joins us live. Jenna, what has Athens have to say about this?
Well, Emily, Senate Bill 5 has union workers in Athens up in arms. They showed their opposition at a packed town hall meeting put on by State Representative Debbie Phillips. For more than 2 hours, people in the crowd stood up one by one to voice their opinions on Senate Bill 5. Here's what they had to say.
With teachers and firefighters and policemen and the folks that work in the public sector,
we've worked for 30-some, 40, 50 years to get what we have. We can't just lay down and let them roll over us.
Killing our union that has been working for so many years, that took so much time to fight for, that's not the answer.
I've got 2 pages of things that unions in Ohio have negotiated away to save money for the state.
Well, Athens County has been a union position, or a union county, has been and always will be. The busting of union is not the way to go.
So not only, as it has been said before, is this a problem for us as individuals and families, this is a problem for Athens County and the surrounding counties.
This legislation that's coming forward, I think, is a distraction from the real problems that we're facing and the real solutions that we need to be working together for.
We're worried about our futures. We're worried about our children.
We're willing to pay our share, but I think we're being unfairly burdened.
And if you can't support us, go home. Go home if you can't support us, because we're not going to be there for you when election time comes around. We don't forget. We will not forget.
I want to ask Jimmy Stewart, and I want to ask the governor, and especially all those who support him. Firefighters and policemen have our backs. Do we have theirs?
State Senator Jimmy Stewart was invited but did not come to the town hall meeting. In a previous statement, Jimmy Stewart said he is non-committal on the bill. Reporting live for Athens Midday, I'm Jonna Miller.
And demonstrators remain in Wisconsin's Capitol building protesting their state's collective bargaining bill. Police issued a deadline for protesters to leave the building at 4 p.m. yesterday, but later decided they could stay overnight. Protesters have been there for nearly 2 weeks now. New Jersey's governor weighs in, saying people need to trust Wisconsin's governor.
What I believe in is true adversarial collective bargaining. And so every state is different, and I'm not going to micromanage Wisconsin from Trenton, New Jersey. I know Scott Walker, I like him, and I trust him, and I think he believes he's doing what's in the best interest of Wisconsin the same way I'm going to do what I
14 Democrats remain in Illinois, blocking a quorum and a vote on the measure.
Governors from around the country are in Washington today to meet with President Obama. The president is urging collaboration between states and the national government to continue the economic recovery. President Obama says he is interested in ways the federal government can learn from the states how to improve the economy. And Governor Kasich is preparing to release his Ohio budget March 15th. He says his goal is to create jobs, and Senate Bill 5 will help control government spending. Kasich called joblessness and poverty Ohio's two biggest enemies. He vowed to change education, health care, and prisons to help fill Ohio's nearly $8 billion budget gap.
Less certain about its budget is the U.S. Congress. Unless agreements about the budget are made, the U.S. government will shut down in less than a week. Democrats say they are willing to keep the government running, but want to add another $4 billion cut to the proposed budget.
We have a moral responsibility to address the problems that we face. And that means working together to cut spending and to rein in government, not shutting it down.
It is acceptable to me to have $4 billion in savings in a 2-week package, sure. The makeup of that, is up for discussion and negotiation.
The last time the government faced a shutdown was 15 years ago. The guaranteed freedoms in the First Amendment are constantly changing when journalists and other professionals try to access public information. A 2006 audit showed almost 60% of university public records across the state were unavailable to student journalists. Ohio University held the Ohio Sunshine Summit this past weekend to address this pressing problem. Liz McKinnon is live in the Athens Midday newsroom. Liz, what was accomplished over the weekend?
Student journalists came from across Ohio and West Virginia to discuss at the Ohio Sunshine Summit the problems that they face. A lot was accomplished at this conference, which students hope will lead to statewide changes.
The Freedom of Information Act, Sunshine Law's basic tools journalists have to get the information they need to be reporters.
Ohio's Sunshine Laws give citizens, including journalists, the right to attend government meetings and access public documents. The Sunshine Summit addressed the current problems with these laws and how they are implemented.
The Sunshine Law is very long and has a lot of exemptions. Every state tacks on additional exemptions, and that's when the problems arise.
The summit here at OU provided students a forum to discuss problems with access, even accessing public areas.
Everyone in the Baker Center has a camera, so they're not doing a privacy thing. They're doing an anti-journalism initiative. And it's explicit. I mean, it can't be denied in that situation. They're picking the journalists out.
Different sessions were set up throughout the day to bring awareness of the challenges of accessing information, which should be readily available to anyone.
And knowing that there's obstacles that really shouldn't be there in terms of transparency and openness in government,
that I thought we passed those battles long ago, but apparently we haven't here in the state.
With help of professional journalists, students gathered at the end to propose a formal resolution to present to the Board of Regents and the Attorney General. The hope is this will allow more freedom to the student journalists across the state.
It's kind of why we're having this event, is to be like, all right, I know this is happening in other places. We're not alone here. It's time that we finally stand up for ourselves.
The resolution will go up to the Sunshine Summit website, ohiosunshinesummit.com, where anyone can access and post their own comments and personal experiences with these laws. Once the resolution is in final form, it will be presented to the Board of Regents and the professionals of Ohio Public Universities. For Athens Midday, I'm Liz McKinnon.
To hear about what the president of the Society of Professional Journalists had to say, visit our website at athensmidday.com.
In economists say the nation's economy is growing, but only moderately. According to a quarterly survey, economists expect the economy to grow more than 3% this year and are already predictions for next year. The economy is expected to grow another 3.5% in 2012. These predictions come from higher consumer spending last month and higher incomes. According to the Commerce Department, spending is up about 2%. The average income is up 1%. Despite the increase in consumer spending, businesses are still laying off employees. The 100-year-old company Fenton Art Glass in West Virginia will lay off 23 employees. The company's president says the layoffs are necessary to stay in business. The company almost closed in 2007. About 80 people will work for the company. And Ohio gas prices are on the rise again. We'll tell you how much and why.
And the latest on the uprisings overseas, which country is joining the fold? Find out coming up on Athens Midday. Power struggles in the Middle East are causing another spike in gas prices. In Ohio, the price for a gallon increased by 30 cents. According to AAA, the average cost per gallon is about $3.38. It was almost $1 less this time last year. Nationally, gas prices rose 4%. The national average per gallon is $3.29. Analysts say prices will increase even more as unrest in the Middle East continues, but higher prices at the pump is only one sign of instability. About 2,000 people took part in another protest against the Libyan government. Weekend protesters chanted for Muammar Gaddafi's resignation. Former police and government security forces are joining the opposition, which has control of several Libyan cities. The European Union Security Council stepped in to help opposition groups. EU ambassadors met in Brussels to impose sanctions against Gaddafi's regime. Sanctions include an arms embargo, asset freeze, and a visa ban. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton joined the Security Council meetings over the weekend. Gaddafi says Security Council based its decisions on what has been shown in the media, which he claims is not the reality in Libya.
Thousands of refugees fled Libya over the weekend because of increased government opposition and violence. More than 20,000 people crossed the border into Tunisia. The Tunisian government set up camps to receive the evacuees. Many are immigrants returning to their native countries. Americans evacuated by boat last week. Meanwhile, in Tunisia, protests continued against the government there, leading to the resignation of the Prime Minister yesterday. At least 6 people were killed and more than 100 arrested in violence over the weekend. And in Oman, the Sultan is offering public jobs to 50,000 residents after weekend protests. The Sultan will pay the citizens nearly $400 a month until they find private sector jobs. The announcement comes after clashes between protesters and the government in the city of Sohar, where more than 1,000 protesters demanded jobs. The weekend protesters left 1 person dead and 11 others injured. The last surviving veteran of World War I has died. Frank Buckles died at his home in Charlestown, West Virginia yesterday. He was 110 years old. Buckles enlisted at age 16 after lying about his age. He was an ambulance driver in World War I. Buckles worked in the Philippines as a civilian during World War II. He was captured by the Japanese and held for 39 months as a POW. We'll have Matt back with us for a more in-depth look at weather you can expect throughout the day.
And in sports, it's high school playoff time. See who's moving on and whose seasons are done.